Hi, I'm Isaac, and I am not bound, contrary to popular belief.
And I'm Claire, and I completed all of the Wielder trials.
And this is Make
Make
That
that game,
Game.
where we pitch the latest
Greatest
new video game ideas.
that aren't, that probably aren't going to get made, most likely. I don't know. So, hey, Claire,
Yeah.
the new wielder, the beater of the wielder trials.
Mhm.
What have you been gaming lately?
Truly, mostly Chicory. Chicory's been. I've wanted to play The Sims. I've had the desire. I've had the inkling, and I have not logged on. I think I still have this idea. So back when I used to play The Sims 2, at my parents' computer, it took like 40 minutes to actually be all set to play. It
Yeah,
was,
okay.
you know,
That's
and
just
so
how gaming worked back then, well, on
right. And
every
then
computer.
I would play for like 5 hours because I would get really into it, but
You would
also
have
because
to.
it would load for long amounts of time. So to do anything significant, you would have to. So I think I still have that in my head, even though Sims 4 takes about like 2 minutes to load on my computer currently. I think in my head, I still think, well, that's a 5 hour time block I just don't have. Whereas in reality, I could play for 1 or 2 hours and it would
You
be
you
fine.
could play for 10 minutes,
I could play for 10 minutes,
honestly.
but I still have that. So I haven't played The Sims. I've wanted to. I've been playing Chicory. I'm doing the same thing I did with Chicory that I did with Oxenfree, which is I now do not want to play anymore because I am like one quest away from beating it. But I had just enjoyed it so much that I don't want it to be over.
Now, how do you know that you're that close to beating it? Does it just feel like you're that close to beating it, or
No,
did
because they
you
they
look it
told me
up?
they're like the only thing left for you to do now is to defeat the corruption on the top of the tower, the main
Oh,
one. Like they just told
oh,
me they're like, this is the last one. Also,
okay.
I Googled how many chapters there are, and there are 10, and I'm in chapter 10. So
Oh,
there's
oh,
two ways I
okay,
know. I'm pretty
okay.
certain. And I'm like,
So
I
no chance of a fake out here.
someday I'll just have to sit down and play all the games I've played to almost the end and just finish them all. But
So the reason I ask is because I've heard Elden Ring has at least 5 fake out endings. I have not
interesting.
achieved any of them, but it's got at least 5. So like I
Okay.
thought that might have been possible, but
Well, that's a good transition. So Isaac, what have you been playing
oh, did
lately?
I cut you short? I'm sorry.
No?
Did you? Oh, you didn't
That's why
have
I
any
said that's
more.
a good transition. It's a
Oh,
good transition. That means I'm done.
I thought there was some sarcasm going on.
No, me sarcastic,
Some
never.
sarcasm there.
I wasn't
Uh
being sarcastic.
that is a yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to explain why I pronounced it as a completely different word. Anyways, what have I been doing? I've been doing Elden Ring. Oh, wow. This is the podcast where we all play one game forever.
Yeah,
uh,
really.
um, no, I played. Oh, the new Kirby came out
Yes.
on the
Oh, yes.
25th.
I
I
played that little
played.
too.
Yeah, we played it together.
Yeah.
So I played a little bit of Kirby. Mostly, I haven't actually gotten past the point that the demo gets to, but that's because I replayed a level with you.
Hmm.
Also, we just got back from vacation,
Yeah.
so there was no time to play Kirby. We were too busy trouncing around little New Englandy town. Um, Besides that, so I have a gaming news.
Okay.
They just recently, since our last podcast recording, announced Witcher 4, the fourth Witcher game, and that's kind of interesting. Yet another game to completely disappoint me with the horse combat.
Good, good, good.
Just absolute more horse garbage that I will get to sift through to get any. I need to revisit Witcher and finish it, but yeah, I guess there's my latest gaming endeavors slash newses. This
Okay.
if this is the first place that you've heard about Witcher 4, let us know
I
because I wanna know if I'm the one breaking the story for people.
mean, you broke the
Um
story to me, but that's not that surprising.
well, so Got any honks or bonks?
I do. So again,
What?
obviously it's not going to be Chicory because I've been playing that forever, and we already did it. But
Right.
so I'm gonna honk and bonk the I almost said movie. It's not a movie. It's a game. It's called Grease. So Gris. It was very popular. Probably still is. I feel like in the indie gamer world, like if you're into indie games, you've definitely seen or heard of Grease. And I guess, well, I don't want to spoil the honks and bonks, but yeah, I didn't expect it to be so platformy, but it is.
What were you expecting? Question.
I don't know. Again, this was also a game that was new to me. So I think this was also very soon after Link that I played this.
That's right.
This was early on in my like Switch gaming experiences and my
It was your first
gaming
platformer.
experiences. It was my first platformer. So I guess I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't played a platformer game before. Although, okay, I will say that I did play platformer games from miniclip.com. No.
Doodle Jump.
Doodle Jump. I played Doodle Jump.
Okay, so you're a platforming expert.
No.
You're an expert at the platformers. You're a champion.
I'm just seeing if Miniclip still exists. It does still exist. Okay, so it used to be just like a Flash game hub. I don't know if any of these games still work, honestly, because it was all Flash when I used to play.
Flash games, RIP.
Right. But there were games on Miniclip that definitely could have been classified as platformer. I don't think they were ever called that in the category, so that's why I wouldn't know.
They were called jump 'em ups.
Yeah, jump 'em ups. But anyway, so I didn't know that going in. But everyone had said like, oh, it's a great like allegory for depression or like mental health, and it's beautiful, blah, 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 all that stuff. So basically it's a platformer and you're trying to restore color to the world. That's like the generic.
Hold on. Isn't that what you're doing in Chicory too?
Yeah, actually in Chicory also is supposed to be like an allegory for depression. So interesting.
I'm sensing a common theme
Interesting.
here.
I'll say I think Chicory did it better, but
okay,
that's my opinion.
Question: what studio made Grease?
Oh, that's a good question. Grease.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
proper
we got it.
accreditation. Crew de
So
pas.
Nomada Studios and Blitworks.
Okay, cool.
The publisher is Devolver Digital.
Oh, they're a big name. They're a big name. They
Well, why is this all on everyone's indie game list?
Sorry, they're a big indie name.
Oh, so, okay. It's a big indie name. Got
it's
it.
A recognizable indie name.
Well, it's like A24.
Digital.
Like A24 in film is like indie, but it's like super recognizable.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Anyway, so that's Grease. Okay, so the honks. It is beautiful. People did not lie about that. It looks pretty.
Nice.
I remember when I saw a trailer for it, I had no idea video games could look like that. Like I literally was like, you can make a video game that looks like that. Like I just had no idea. I thought that was like design impossible to make a video game in that style. You can
actually make a video game look like anything.
And I didn't know that. This was like I thought it had to look like either 8-bit or like kind of like that 3D like Lynx kind of feel.
Yep.
I literally did not know until I saw this game that games could look like that. Like this kind of game could look like that. I've since learned. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And it's just beautiful. I mean, the colors are really pretty. The worlds are really pretty. Yeah, it's just the art is just incredible. And I love the movement too. Like the way the character moves around is very fun to watch and light and like, I don't know, it's just interesting. It's neat. Neat. To go along with that, also the music was really good. I liked all the music and the sound design of this game.
Did it draw you into the world? Did it make you feel the depression?
So that's it. I mean, I can talk about it in the bonks, I guess. I'm going to talk about that. But okay. The music itself did not make me feel depression. It made me feel really calm. It was like very relaxing, almost like going to a spa.
Okay.
And the sound design was like also kind of similar but it would be obviously environmentally based. So there's specifically one of my favorite areas was this kind of like, not quite underground, but kind of like mossy, like foresty area. And it just, you could hear like the crickets and the frogs and like water, some like trickling somewhere. And, it was just nice. This is a good time in my ears. I really liked it. So yeah, so and then I guess that just leads, well, I didn't write that many honks, I'm gonna be honest, but then the other honk I had was the cool environments. So I did think the design, like overall, was just very unique. Um, the shapes of things, the way things worked. This also was a game where I don't think I needed a lot of help to do it. I think I asked you a couple times, but I mostly would take the Switch back to my apartment before we were living together. I'd borrow it and I'd just play by myself, and I could usually figure it out.
Yeah, I think there was a couple times where you needed help figuring out like a puzzle, and like I didn't need to like do perform any actions for you or anything.
Right. It was more like thinking it through, like, wait a minute, should
Yeah,
I do this or this? Yeah. So as far as like moving around and jumping and using the controls, like that was really, I thought intuitive. It was something I could pick up really quickly. I didn't get
which is good
like,
design.
yes. And this game did not frustrate me, which I think is really good. A lot of games I can get frustrated. Most games you get frustrated at least a couple times. This one I can't remember being incredibly frustrated. Um, so yeah, so overall it was like a pretty pleasant playthrough.
Nice
I do have
cozy game.
nice cozy game. I do have some bonks though. The first bonk, and this is how I wrote it in my notes, is what am I even doing? So I thought, because people were so into this game and they're talking so much about the story, how, oh my gosh, I thought I'd like know what the story was. Like I thought I'd kind of get it. I did not get it. Maybe this is me, but from just the context of the game alone, so you start and there's like this big statue of a woman and she crumbles. And then through other levels, you'll find other women statues that have been like broken and you repair them. And then that's what brings the colors back sometimes. And there's like these dark things that will chase you, but they don't seem that dangerous, to be honest. Like you can like easily beat them usually. So yeah, I don't know where I am or why I'm doing anything. That was kind of a problem for me. Like I knew like restoring the color, yeah, like I got that, but yeah, I don't know. It just was like it wasn't really that focused on the plot. I think it was more about the vibe.
Yeah, no, I also got, just from watching what you were doing and you listening to you talk about it, it did seem like it was more of a vibe game. Like I remember the introductory cutscene, and yeah, the lady statue crashes and
Yeah.
then you're stuck alone deep in a dark pit,
Yeah.
right? And it's all about ascending
Right.
back to the top.
Although you do go down eventually, like you go like there's an underground level, so it's not all about
Oh,
that. Yeah.
I mean, it could be underground in a mountain above where you've actually. I remember you sliding down a huge pit to get to the red area, so never mind. I don't know what's going on either.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was like a big bonk for me. The other bonk was kind of what I just mentioned with the dark figures. So every now and then you'll have like a dark figure you have to basically outrun or outsmart, which are kind of like the quote unquote big bosses. It's really at its heart a puzzle game. Like most of the time you're solving puzzles to get stars that you like walk up, which that
Hmm.
part kind of connected. But even that, I was like, in the end, it didn't actually mean as much as I thought it was going to mean. Like I thought that was going to be like the big reveal, and it didn't really feel that way.
So, like the stars you thought were going to be like super relevant, like, oh, you're a star maiden
Right.
restoring the constellations, but it
Well,
wasn't
because
that.
no, exactly. And I thought they'd be more of a mechanic because you could, at the beginning, like you collected stars, you could use them to walk on like the sky.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, that's going to be so cool. Like I'll collect these and I'll be able to use different amounts at different times. But really, like you have to give them up every now and then at the end of a level. And so, and you don't really use that mechanic very much, even though I thought that was one of the coolest things that you did was collecting these stars. And you have to collect them to move on. They just weren't. I thought it was going to be like a bigger reveal or something, kind of like
Oh.
the secret messages in Pokemon that don't exist. So I was a little disappointed in that. But yeah, and then so really you're trying to solve these puzzles to get the stars. Like that's the big thing you're doing. But sometimes these like monsters will attack. And I mean, I'm sure that's the allegory for mental health and mental illness. But they again, it seems like the game is like, well, you're gonna make it. Like there's no dying in this game. Like I know there's no lives. It's kind of like Chicory in that sense of like, well, you're gonna succeed in this battle no matter what. So
Wait, so what happens if like the monsters catch you?
I don't know. They never caught me.
Oh,
Like
okay,
literally, like it wasn't hard.
okay,
There was
okay.
one that like had big wings and it could blow you around, but I mean, then you fall off the platform, you get back on the platform. You know, like there was no.
So not
So
very difficult.
right, and like it's again like Chicory, where I'm just kind of like, so why was it there? What were we
And
doing?
games are really supposed to hit. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the graph, but there's like the graph of like difficulty versus player skill, and as you go through the game, the player skill is supposed to increase, and the difficulty is supposed to increase, and they're supposed to like basically be at the same rate to be a perfect straight diagonal line from bottom of the graph to the top.
Yeah.
It sounds like player skill vastly outpaces the challenge of the game in this.
Well, I would say for that purpose, yes. But for the puzzles, no. I think for the puzzles, they were really well balanced.
Oh, okay. So it's like specifically like these shadow monsters
Yes.
are
Specifically
like
those.
they're basically scripted cutscenes.
Yeah, and they're basically I guess
Mm.
they're kind of part of the puzzle in the sense, like the one that's like blowing you around, like, well, that one becomes part of the puzzle because you have to figure out like, well, how am I going to get up there with the wind situation?
Okay.
So that kind of made sense. But when they're just chasing you and you just run really fast, it's like, okay,
Cool.
all right. And I also don't know where they're coming from because I don't know the story of this world. Maybe I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people, listeners, who are just like, that's the point. The point is that it's all about exploring and it's not battles, and you can interpret it how you want. Like, okay, maybe I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah, let me know.
And then the final bonk is that I had no desire to complete the side tasks. So there were a lot of things I did not get in the game. Like when I finished the playthrough, which was surprisingly short for me, like to get through it from start to finish, I was at like 30%, I think, of finish.
Oh, so you like missed a lot.
I missed a ton. And to be honest, I don't even know what I missed. So there's these things you get that look kind of like stars, but they're not quite. And when you get that, you get something. But I don't even know what they are. And you could keep playing the game like after the credits, like you could keep going and like get all these things, but I had literally no desire to do so because I didn't understand what they meant and I didn't know how I would do that. There's the world itself, though beautiful, has no map and no kind of logical direction, I guess, because often you're sliding down, like you were saying, like you're sliding down these steep inclines and then you can't get back up, and so you have to like find your way back to that area in a different way, and it's just like very maze like. Which again, I think in the first playthrough makes a lot of sense, but as far as going back to like collect things,
right, you don't want to bother with that.
No, it's like too much work. And so yeah, this one I was like, yeah, I barely, I guess, played it, but I feel very done with it. So it was kind of left me in that weird place of like, oh,
you
huh,
didn't
interesting.
even 1/3 play it.
I don't think so. I
You
think
didn't give it a
30%.
chance.
I think overall, and again, like we said, these are our opinions.
Mine are facts, actually.
I liked it overall. I think it's a really nice, cozy game. It's very relaxing. But if you want something with a real story to it, this is not your game. That's my thesis.
That's your honks and bonks.
That's my honks and bonks. So Isaac, what are your honks and bonks? What will you be honking and bonking for us?
I will be honking and bonking a game called Plague Tale: Innocence, or maybe it's A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I
or
watched
The
you play
Plague
this.
Tale. Yeah, you watched me play a little bit of it. It's by Asobo Studio. It is I would describe it as an stealth adventure game. Combat isn't really a big focus, but there is combat in it. Not enough where I would really call it action, although there are action sequences. So I probably should have looked up what the official genre is, but I'm going to describe it as a stealth adventure game. You play as the daughter of a nobleman, and your little brother is sick and or had a sickness and was cured of it, and there's a plague going around, and you need to protect him from the people who want to use him to cure the plague, but I think they have to torture him in order to like get the secrets out of his body or something. Anyways, it's a 4-year-old.
Yeah, he's fun. And I find not fun.
Yeah, he's not fun. I think he's also, so I don't know if this is just how children are or if he's coded to be autistic or something, but like he has little meltdowns.
Well, I always thought that was part of his like issues.
Yeah, I'll get into it later.
Okay.
But anyway, so like you have to sneak past guards while wrangling this small child, and you also have to trust him to like go on his own to help solve puzzles. Like you put him in small spaces that only he can get to for him to pull levers and stuff. You have to manage his status while doing this stealth, and a lot of the times there's like hordes and hordes of rats that you have to like light torches to get through and keep your brother close, or that kind of stuff. So that's the game. Honks. Very atmospheric. It's very dark. It's very creepy. There's a lot of mystery going on. You are kind of like, as a sheltered noblewoman, don't really know how the dregs of society are living, and you're kind of isolated enough where like this whole plague thing seems to have been going on for a while. But like when you walk into the first town, you see like the ravages of what that plague entails, and there's like a shell shock factor. It's pretty tense most of the time. Like I find myself unable to play for extended periods because they set up the atmosphere so well. So that's definitely a honk. They like, between the art direction, the acting, I guess, the lighting, sound design, all that, it all comes together and really puts you into the space of the heroine. And then another honk that I want to give it is upgrade materials seemed fairly scarce. So they have a bunch of upgrades, and you can get to like little crafting stations and give yourself upgrades like, oh, here's sling ammo, or like you can hold more ammo in your slingshot. You can do more damage with your slingshot. You're sneakier because your clothes are made out of lighter materials and stuff. Or you'd like take, I think there's like armor upgrades and stuff. And there's a lot of material overlap. And I also found myself finding material at a pretty slow pace. Like every time I found a bench, I had enough material to get at least one upgrade, but there was still the choice of like, I need to figure out which of these upgrades most fits my play style, I guess. So there's a little bit of customization there, where if you like using the sling a lot, you might want to do the damage, whereas I wanted to be more stealthy, so I focused on like making things quieter, being able to sneak more. And I kind of like you, I'm noticing here that I did not write a lot of honks, but like this is definitely a good game. These some of these bonks are very okay. I'm just gonna get these two out of the way immediately.
Okay.
Here's my first two bonks. A lot of it's very dark, like super, very extremely dark, just pitch black almost, which is like the point. That's part of the atmosphere. Like, hey, it's good atmosphere, but also, I do want to see what's happening here. The second thing, the sound is pretty unpleasant because especially when there's rats around, it's a constant chittering. And like it sounds really gross, and it goes
that's
on
part of the
constantly.
atmosphere though, right?
I know, so that's why I'm getting these out. These aren't really bonks. They actually play into the first honk I mentioned, but I wrote them down as bonks. The rat sound specifically makes my head throb after like 45 minutes of just constantly, oh, there's actually 100 million rats. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think you've under so to be clear, listeners, I watched him play almost all of what he has played. So I feel like I keep wanting to be like, yeah, and this, and I've never actually played this game. I've just seen it. But how disgusting the animated rats are. Like, I don't think you've quite made clear just how disturbing and gross these hordes of rats just.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of both a honk and a bonk because they did it. They set out to do it. They did it.
You are hearing what the character would hear. It is gross. It's hateful. You are seeing. So they actually did. It seemed really cool with what they were doing with the rats. And this isn't. I guess it is game design, but in a different sense. It's like more on the development side. Watching the way that the rats move, it seems almost like they just applied a shader in a lot of places to like, oh, here it'll like draw some 2D rats into the screen over top of like whatever terrain it's on, rather than like having an individual 3D model for every single rat. So they made it so that they could have truly like tens of thousands of rats on screen at the same time without like chugging your frames per second on like a console. So that was just a really nifty trick that I noticed, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. A lot of lesser people would just be like, oh, let's animate the rats. Oh, we'll animate, one whole swarm at once. and that'll be fine. No, they went all the way. They made whatever they did black magic. So next bonk. It is kind of repetitive. So let's go back to that talk about the graph where you want to go the smooth diagonal line. I think that they almost hit that too exactly, because a lot of puzzles will be like, okay, you need to light a torch, and then that opens up the path to the next area. And then, oh, the torch is slightly farther away. So now you need to learn that you can carry a torch with you, but that torch only has a limited amount of time. So you go on to the next path, and then it'll be like, oh, there's a torch on the other side of like this small barred prison cell, and your little brother can get through, but he can't light the torch. The rats will eat him. So then it's like, okay, you have to see the other torch down the hallway, and then you do the exact same thing that you just did. You light the torch, walk down the hallway, light that one, light the stationary brazier. I guess I keep saying torch when I'm referring to the one that you hold and carry, and also like the ones that are around the levels.
And just to be clear, I did look this up. A brazier, he's right. And it's not a bra, it is a chandelier. Just so you know, just so everyone knows out there.
I know my words. Thank you for clarifying my terminology.
Like I had to look it up the first time you said that word, and I said, no, he's right.
Yeah,
right.
I often am, but so it's like the difficulty. Each task takes like 5 seconds to accomplish, and then the difficulty goes up by 5%. And I think that to avoid some repetition, what they could have done is they could have made the jumps in difficulty a little higher each time. It's like, now this torch, in order to get to it, or this brazier, in order to get to it, you need to hit a chandelier from the ceiling, and the candles will scare the rats off and form a path. And then, oh, you need to sneak behind this guard who is carrying a torch, and he has the light. And it is a very slight variation of basically the same action. And it, to me at least, it's just like instantly figured it out. Just like I saw the situation, and I'm like, okay, this is what I've got to do. Mm-hmm. Boom. And sometimes the execution is a little difficult, but I guess what the actual bonk there is the execution of actions is very simple. Mm-hmm. And then an additional bonk, the combat is clunky, and sometimes they seem to like force you into boss fights, and maybe there's ways to avoid those, but the way that you do combat, like I think this is a problem with stealth games in general. Like they don't do a whole lot of time, like they have a lot of buttons dedicated to putting you stealthy, like doing stealthy things, like, oh, you gotta sneak, and oh, this is how you peek around corners and stuff. And then they have less buttons for combat. So they're like, okay, in order to do combat, you have to hold this button down, aim with this button that's normally used for, calming your little brother down. So yeah, combat's clunky, and when they force you to do it, it can kind of be jarring. So
yeah,
that's A Plague Tale: Innocence by Asobo Studio.
Yeah, I would say, I guess I agree with the combat, like watching you do combat. Like when I watch you do the puzzles, it's like I can kind of solve them with you and in my head, and it's like fun. And then the combat, I'm like, I would never wish that upon myself.
Yeah. So overall, would recommend. The next game was announced fairly recently.
Oh wow!
So I should finish.
You gotta finish. I was gonna say you're not even.
I gotta finish it so that I can play the next one and figure out the conclusion of the story. I don't think it's that long. I've played for a couple hours, and I think I only have a few hours more. I think that this game barely hits the double digits.
Oh wow!
Okay. I think. But I'll double check on that. Hey, if I'm wrong, email us. Let me know how wrong I am. Thank you.
Make that game podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. Hey, Claire.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought up of a game idea that was just so cool you needed to share it to the world, but more specifically me sitting here in this sound booth?
Yeah, I have actually.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting, because I have here in my calendar that I have enough time to hear exactly one pitch.
Oh, goodness. Well, it's lucky then that I have a pitch for you.
Wow. Incredible. Just what a coincidence of all this. Okay. Well, hey, hit me with it.
All right. Now I've been pitching that this pitch is exciting to you for a little while. And I just realized that like I never updated my notes when I came up with a cooler idea.
Geez.
But it's okay.
You've got it in memory.
I've got it in memory. I've got some Wikipedia articles up. So here we go.
Wikipedia articles. Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
because this is gonna be based on some real stuff.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So I actually get to shout out one of our favorite podcasts to listen to, which is Morbid.
Yes.
I almost played you this episode on our road trip just to be funny, but I didn't.
Oh, wow.
I should have, because then I would have been fresh in my head. So Morbid does true crime. They did an episode on a place called Lake Lanier. So my show, I keep saying show. My game idea is the working title is called Mystery at Lake Lanier. Now, Lake Lanier is a reservoir. I'm reading this from Wikipedia in the northern portion of the U.S. state of Georgia. So this is one of those man-made lakes that flooded a town.
Okay.
And the reason,
like Lake Delta.
Yes, in New York. And the reason that it was on a true crime podcast, they also do kind of spooky things. It's not just strictly true crime. Is because a lot of people have drowned here, and there's a lot of theories as to why. And one of those theories is that it's haunted. I guess there is a full cemetery that they flooded, which is one of the reasons people say that
you can't just flood cemeteries.
Well,
you got to move the bodies.
Yeah. I mean, they might have moved the bodies. I can't remember. The Wikipedia does not talk about how haunted it is. I'm just gonna.
Dang it. Gotta close that. That's worthless.
I know. So anyway, so this is also kind of inspired, but I've been thinking about this for a while. So when I started getting back into video games, I told Isaac, I said, I love water levels. Can you find me a video game that's like all underwater? And he said, yeah. And he looked at some games and I was like, no, these games are like, it's like you're moving out of water though. Like they're not using water level mechanics. They're just using regular mechanics and it's set underwater. I'm like, that's incorrect. Like, I like it.
You're the only human being that I've ever heard of who's like, no, I want the bad water level mechanics.
I know. Well, but I love it. Like every time I get the ability to swim in a game, it's like, that's it. That's the one. Like, oh yeah. Like I got it in Ori. I got it in Greece. That's a pro to Greece. You can swim. And it's got great sounds for swimming. Good splashes.
Good splashes.
Gotta have good. This game's gonna have good splashes
on their like store page.
Good splashes. So yeah, I love water levels. I love when it's like there's resistance, there's some sound effects, maybe there's a mechanic for breathing or a mechanic for shooting bubbles. I don't know. I love it. I love me a good water level. Mario, you got it.
I think Kirby has some water levels. So
awesome.
Get excited for those.
And then, so I'd kind of forgotten about this quest though of mine until you pitched your game last week, which was basically every bad ice level. And you were doing it as a joke, but I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I need to make a game that's all water levels for me because I want this in my life. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I should make it about Lake Lanier. So, because at first it was going to be different, but so the idea is that you would be haunting or no, there is a haunting in the lake, right? And maybe you've been pulled under or you're and you have to solve the mystery to like save the town or something or save the lake. Because it looks like this was not necessarily a welcome lake in the town. So the idea is like because of the lake and the hauntings, it has just destroyed all of the surrounding wildlife, the town. There's like the hauntings have increased. So you have been tasked to solve the mysteries of who's haunting the lake and, restore order to nature. You'll have to save people. You'll have to find gravestones. You'll have to go into like sunken houses. I mean, we're going to obviously like up the drama because the real lake is not, it's not as spooky as it sounds, right? Like, they, they evacuated people, right? So it will make it extra spooky. It's going to be fun. We can base it off of some of the actual things that go. Yeah. It's just one giant water level. That's really what it is. It's a mystery game and it's one giant water level and it's called Lake Lanier. And that's the game.
So I've seen horror games and I've seen survival games that are all one level water level. I've never heard of a mystery game that's
And
all one
also,
water level. This
I
is
don't I don't think they were a water level though. Because like I said, to be a water level, it has to be
well, the survival
different.
and the horror games
They're water level?
definitely have controls with the horror slash survival aspects of being underwater in
Okay.
mind, where it's like slow movement.
Well, then I definitely should play those games. 'Cause that sounds fun.
I'll show you a few after
Yeah.
this.
All right. Well, that's my game.
All right. Well,
What do
I will give you $20. That is enough to hire a studio, right?
Yeah, sure. I have no
Okay.
idea, so probably not.
And
For like
this
maybe like 20 minutes, they could do it.
this needs to be done within 3 months, and we will be releasing it on PS5 exclusively. Oh,
That's every
because the
time someone says
PS5.
PS5 because
Yeah.
it looks like.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Well, what about you? Do you have a game? Do you have a game to pitch for me today?
I have for you the best, the most intense, the greatest, extremist game ever. It is called Drill Dropper Dig Deep.
Like Dig Dug.
It yes, actually, we were just talking about Dig Dug, Doug Dig.
Not to be
Dig Dug.
confused with his DJ cousin Dig Dub.
I thought it was never mind. So, anyways, Drill Dropper Dig Deep. It is a game that has two-phase gameplay.
Okay.
And so the first phase, you plow, drill. You are a drill pilot. You have to plow as deep into the dirt as you possibly can, which is limited by how much oxygen you have, how much heat resistance you have, and how powerful your drill is that it can dig through these various layers of the earth. Uh, as you go down, there will be random boulders of harder material, perhaps even impassable material that you'll bounce off of. That will stop you from going any deeper if you like hit them directly. You have to keep an eye out for interesting things because you can actually only collect things on your way back up. You cannot in the first phase actually get, like, if you see a cool vein of coal or oil or gems or whatever. You have to remember where that is for your way up. Then, you get to your maximum level that you can get to. And you have to rise back to the surface again, where you memorize where the boulders are and you kind of have to avoid them, otherwise you'll bounce off, damage your drill. You'll get less rewards because money will have to be put towards repairing if you take too much damage, blah blah blah.
Oh, you have money in this game?
Yeah, because basically the idea is you sell everything that you find. So, like, on your way back up, you collect all the gems and oil that you saw and dodge all the boulders again. You get back to the top with all that, you sell it, and you buy upgrades so that your next expedition goes better. So you can get like a harder drill, you can get better heat resistance, better pressure resistance, bigger oxygen tanks. You can get an engine that turbo boosts. You can get special powers, like maybe like you can go into super drill mode, which will let you drill through 3 boulders on your way up or down, if you activate it, but only 3. Or you can upgrade it over time and, like, oh, here's 4, here's 5, blah blah blah. And so each excursion takes like a minute, maybe 2 to do. So it's like a quick. I basically envision this as almost a mobile game.
Okay.
For the big gamers out there, you may be familiar with Vlambeer's Ridiculous Fishing, and I am almost to a T describing Ridiculous Fishing, except for this does not have the part where the fish all get thrown into the sky and then you shoot them with a shotgun. So this is infinitely worse of a game and not as fun or cool. So you would not buy this game if you had to choose between this and Ridiculous Fishing. You would pick Ridiculous Fishing every single time. But anyways, I know that as part of my pitch, I basically said this is another game but worse.
Yeah.
Will you fund my game?
Oh, that's the game.
Oh yeah, no, I rambled off. That's what I'm good at. I'm Isaac the Rambler. That's my
Yeah,
title.
it is. So Yeah, I mean, I'll fund this game. I think as a mobile game, it's pretty cool. It's like just a nice, like you could just play it. It's very clean, was what I was thinking. Like you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, like that's a game. Like you just described a game
Yeah,
from
yeah.
start to finish. That's a game right there. And I think it's fun when you come to the table with, I guess, not alternative, but like I always am thinking like, oh yeah, like you play this on the Switch or on your PC, and you're like, no, I have an arcade game, or no, I have a mobile game, and it inspires me to think outside the box. So I think that's cool. And you could so easily monetize this from mobile game too. Like, oh, well, you got to buy credits to get your next upgrade, or you can wait 10 hours.
Yeah, you could add that kind of stuff. So if you are a mobile game company and you want your next cash cow, contact me to get the rights to Drill Drop or Dig Deep. I don't think that exists. I think anybody who listens to this podcast, I don't think there's any way to protect a game idea. So like we're just giving them out for free, folks.
Yeah. We're just giving them out for free. I mean, we encourage you at the end even
actually
to just take these ideas from us. Yeah, if there's one that you, Isaac, really want to develop yourself, you probably should keep it to yourself.
Yeah. I'm not going to develop Drill Dropper, Dig Deep.
Drill Dropper, Dig Deep. All right, I like it.
Good. I'm glad that you like it. But you know what I think you'll like even more?
What will I like?
I think that you'll like the next 3 game ideas that we together come up with in the rapid fire round.
Rapid fire round. I do like that. So to refresh our listeners' minds, the rapid fire round is when I randomly generate 3 words while Isaac times us for 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes to put those 3 words into a game idea. We have to name the game. We have to describe how one would play this game within those 5 minutes. And we have to use the 3 words. We can be a little creative, but they have to be there somewhere.
We often get very
We
stretch
creative.
it to its limits. We love it.
Yes. So that is the rapid fire. So are you ready for our
I am ready. I'll press
words?
The start button as soon as you tell me to.
Okay. Da, 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 da. I love the first word. Okay, here it is. Lemon, light, and preach.
Lemon, light, and preach. Okay. Okay. The preach makes it
the
weird.
Preach throws it off quite a bit. So I think this is where we're gonna have to get creative.
Lemon, light, and preach.
Even light and preach together, you're like, ooh, I don't know.
That automatically brings religious tones. But here's where I'm gonna take this.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clean people's kitchens and bathrooms.
Okay. Yep.
And you bring the enlightenment of cleanliness to the world. Like you live in a world where everything's dirty, and you discover lemon soap.
I named it.
Okay.
It's called Preachy Clean.
Okay. Boom. Preachy Clean. The game
like
where you clean.
It's not quite a pun, but
so instead of bringing color back to a black and white world, we are bringing cleanliness back to a dirty world. Yeah, and you're just going around, and you have different scented cleaners to bring the lemon more explicitly into it. And you got to clean out the curtains and windows so light can actually get into these abodes. And yeah, you just clean it.
Maybe this game's like sponsored by Pine Sol.
Yeah, well, isn't there a lemon specific lemon cleaner?
I think it's Pine Sol.
I thought Pine Sol was the pine scented one.
That's not pine scented, I don't think.
Oh, geez. But anyways, I think that's a full game idea.
I think we did it. I think Preachy Clean.
Well, okay. I guess specifically we do need to talk about the mechanics, and I'm thinking it's like above view, you have the various dirty tracks, and I'm almost thinking of it as like a Snake style game. If you're familiar with Snake, you can't cross over your tail as you collect power-ups, which give you
but you're
score.
A snake?
Well, so this is where I'm coming from. This is why I'm bringing this up. So I'm thinking, I guess the easier way to describe it is you can't clean the same spot twice, or maybe you can a limited number of times, but you have like a limited amount of cleaner.
Okay.
So you have to hit every tile in the area, or a certain number of tiles to get a certain number of cleanliness without crossing back over your path. So to kind of put this in your head, and hopefully this will give a frame of reference, I believe that the Link's Awakening color dungeon had a couple of these things where like you needed the entire floor to go red.
Oh,
But if you touched a place that you already stepped, it would go from red to blue, and then you'd have to, turn it red again.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that kind of idea.
Got it.
So if something's clean, going
I think
over it again.
You could also play like to the actual like theories of cleaning, where like you start at the top and work your way down, or like what kind of things like that.
Yeah,
like
there would be strategies.
Like if you clean the floor and then you clean a counter, then the floor is going to get dirty from the counter.
Exactly. So you clean the counters first.
Right.
Yeah. So okay.
Also, I did look it up. Pine Sol is many different scents. So just to correct myself before people, are starting to add us about our Pine Sol knowledge. Yeah, it is many different scents. Lemon being one of them. But okay.
We would actually enjoy the engagement. So please add us about your Pine Sol opinions and facts.
Yes, at Make That Game Pod on both Instagram and Twitter. Anyway, all right. So Preachy Clean, which rhymes with Peachy Keen. That's why I did it.
Yep.
Preachy Clean. Do you not know Peachy Keen?
No, I do.
Okay. All right.
Boom. Let's 3 more words. Hit me with them. Tell me when to go.
Well, how long did that take us? What was our?
That took us 4 minutes.
Wow. Right up a dent.
Yeah.
All right.
We had 1 minute left.
All right. Here they are. So the first word is a game. So it's gonna be fun.
Okay, that's a free space.
Yeah. Monopoly.
What? Okay.
Structure. Nomination.
Wait, okay, so you generated 4 words? Oh, you regenerated game.
What? Monopoly, structure, nomination.
Oh, I thought you said the first word was game, not a game. Okay.
The first word is a game. Yeah.
All right. So Monopoly, structure. What's the last one? Illumination?
Nomination.
I mean, is it cheating if we just say we are making a computer version of the Monopoly board game? Because it has those.
It is cheating because that exists.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
I have played games like that. So,
okay.
But wait, so it's Monopoly, structure, nomination. So maybe it's not Monopoly. It's the prequel.
This is about. Wait, define. Okay, what? Tell me when. What is the prequel to Monopoly?
It's about Mr. Monopoly's rise to glory, rise to billionaire, I guess.
Okay, and so how does he do? What?
So he has to be. I'm trying here. Yes. He has to be nominated because he's also the mayor.
He's also the mayor now. Oh, geez. Okay. Mayor Monopoly. Okay. Nope. Let's abandon the idea of tying this into Monopoly because Milton Bradley or whatever, Hasbro, is not gonna hit us up with this. So, all right. Nomination, local politics. Monopoly, local politics. Structure,
local politics.
Bury your enemies in structures. Wait. You get
what?
You get nominated as the mayor of a town, and then you have to run all the construction companies out of town so that your brother's construction company can be the one to build a pyramid over your tomb.
So it's like nepotism, the game.
Yes. I don't know what the gameplay would be to I don't know which part of that is gameplay. That was all story. I don't know what the gameplay of driving out rival and then this is a tough one.
Maybe you have to like come up with like ordinances that would strongly discourage outside construction companies from like working, or like a lot of red tape for things like permits and things. But then when your brother's company goes, you can just like let it slide.
Okay, new idea. We've got 2 minutes left and we've already pivoted like 4 times. Okay, so all right, listen.
New idea, brand new idea.
All right. Nope. So this is a Tetris like. So what's coming down is ballots
Okay.
that, because you have the nomination. I'm getting abstract with all these words. So
Okay.
ballots come down,
Yeah.
and you have to like catch them in your little ballot box, but you have to dodge your opponent's ballots. I guess this isn't really a Tetris like, but still, yeah,
It's
okay.
like your banana game.
It is pretty much like my banana game, but there's got to be some stacking mechanic. That's the structure. I
Okay, so
used to
you're
have this old
stacking.
Mario game where you would have various stacks and you would like switch them back and forth.
And there was some snack stacker game on
Burger
Nickelodeon.
something. But
Whatever.
okay, so yeah, you stack the ballots, and then the Monopoly is, in a very abstract sense, you have to get only your own ballots. You have to have a monopoly on the ballots.
Okay. We don't have time for anything else, and I think that's fine, even if it's very, very tangentially related to our words.
So I'm gonna call this
call
game Burger Ballot.
I was gonna call it Ballot Buster.
Okay, Ballot Buster it is. We've got 30 seconds left. Bam! We did it. We nailed it with 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I could
only say we nailed it. I would say nothing else. All right. This is our last rapid fire of the day.
We have not been very rapid at all. We 4 minutes at least on
Remember,
each one.
was it last week that we just was like,
it was a minute each. It was like blam blam blam.
We got it. It's easy. This one. Well, we came up. All right. Are you ready? Here we go.
Yes, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Carve.
Okay.
Exhibition.
Oh.
Syndrome.
Okay. All right.
So I just want to jump right in here and say, when I heard the word carve, I immediately thought jack-o'-lanterns. Immediately.
Okay, and that also plays into exhibition, because what is the point of a jack-o'-lantern except for to show it off? So, all right, you are carving jack-o'-lanterns.
Syndrome's kind of where I'm not.
All right, let's Google the word syndrome.
I was literally just doing that. Yeah, syndrome definition.
Group of symptoms which consistently occur together, or a condition characterized by a set of associated symptoms, a characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, or behavior. The not in my backyard syndrome. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
okay, so I think the second definition, a characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, or behavior. Mm-hmm. So what it is you do custom jack-o'-lantern carvings, and you have to carve a jack-o'-lantern that will satisfy the customer. So the customer comes in, and you have to carve a jack-o'-lantern that fits their personality.
Okay.
So like if they're like a sad, droopy person, you have to have a sad, droopy jack-o'-lantern, and then they go, oh, I really like this. Here's $5.
Maybe it's just because I feel like we do that kind of game a lot.
Yeah, well, that's because it's a very easy game idea to fall back on. That's my
So where's the syndrome then? Where's the syndrome in this?
The syndrome is the characteristic combination of emotions or behavior, which I'm stretching to be the combination just of the personality.
Yes. I guess I have like an issue with like my personality is a syndrome, but
yeah, but like we're not really going to be able to do this in a non-problematic way, because I feel like something mental illness, like
right. No, I know,
which is where like the next step of that is.
Okay, let me just really quick Google Halloween syndrome and see if that's anything. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah, no, syndrome I think just makes this really hard to come up with an idea that isn't gross.
So people come in, we make a pumpkin that looks like them, and maybe at the end there's like a big pumpkin show. It's all for the big pumpkin show.
Okay, yes. Now, to be clear, the pumpkin carving mechanics I imagine to be exactly like coffee talk. Making of the coffee
okay.
lattes.
See, I thought it would be more like chicory, and you can make it would be really challenging actually to make it look good, because then it'd be funny.
Yeah. Now this game
I did see it as kind of a coffee talk scenario where like because you have to like know what people want, kind of.
Exactly.
Whatever that bar game is, fantasy.
Valhalla?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Fantasy the game.
Yeah. All right, Boob. We have 32 seconds left.
All right.
We gotta name it.
Spooky.
The Great Big Pumpkin Show.
The Great Big Pumpkin Show. Yep, I like it. The Great Big Pumpkin Show. All right.
Okay, boom.
Wow,
With
that
20
was
seconds left on the clock, we came up with a game that I think if I ever saw that in Steam, if I saw that in like
for
a
like
store,
$3 in Steam.
I would absolutely pass that by. That nothing about that name actually
You'd
comes
be like,
out
"No, thanks."
at me. Yeah.
Okay, I would actually say absolutely. Please sign me up for that.
Oh,
The Great
okay,
Big
well.
Pumpkin Show.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yep. We don't have enough time to go with the better name, folks. So here we are. Well, that was a rough one for the rapid fire, but I think otherwise pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay to have a rough one every once in a while because like last week, I feel was a super not rough one.
Yeah.
And we just hit it out of the park. So it's like we're humans. I think when they start dropping words like syndrome and
I know if it was just
illumination or whatever nomination
exhibition and then something else, we could have really, I think, sorted that.
There would be some options there, but alas.
All right, well, that's our show.
Oh, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that's the show.
Thanks everyone for listening. If you want to reach out to us, we have social at Twitter. It's at Make That Game Pod, as in short for podcast. Instagram, also at Make That Game Pod. And just to trick you up, our email is makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com.
I think you can handle it though. I think they can handle it.
Yeah, it's tricky. We added the cast just to mess with them. But this is like a challenge in a video game. You know, you do the task twice and then we make it slightly harder. We hit that graph curve. Boom. So yeah, reach out to us. Let us know which honks are incorrect of mine, which bonks prove that I am a child incapable of knowing quality game design. Let Claire know that her ideas were so perfect and wonderful. And let us know games that you want us to honk and bonk. Let us know games that you think that we should play. Let us know, like, give us 3 random words that you think are funny together that you want to hear us struggle to come up with ideas for. You know, all those things.
All those things. We would
love to hear. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, if you heard a game you liked today and you are inspired, we encourage you to turn on that computer machine and
Make that
game.
We're good at this.